Welcome to Jesse Armitstead from Ice Basketball. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Of course, excited to be here. Always happy to talk basketball.
I love it. So I think the best way to get to know somebody is to be able to see their day. And I would love for you to introduce yourself by giving us a day in the life. From the moment you wake up to the moment you go into sleep, what does your life look like over there in Utah?
It's a little all over the place when you have a kid, so it's a little bit different every day. But generally, I try and wake up like 6 and get in and start working on some stuff. Typically, that's social media content. And previously, I just hired somebody to help me with this, but it was responding to texts and getting things ready for the day. And then pretty much from then to lunch, it's just sitting here on my computer, working on stuff, getting things ready to go, working on the business part of training, which is almost as enjoyable for me as the actual basketball part, is just building all the business stuff. So I enjoy that, and then take a lunch break, hang out with my wife and our daughter, who both stay at home. So that's a lot of fun. And then kind of hop into a couple more things and then get ready to head down to training for the rest of the evening, usually 4 to 9-ish. So that's kind of the basic rundown. But like I said, being able to work from home and have my family at home too, we every once in a while head out for a family outing every once in a while, and it's good.
Absolutely. And how many days out of the week are you hitting that schedule?
Pretty much Monday through Friday. I don't have any sessions on Friday. Right now I'm going to watch our players play Tuesday and Friday, so pretty busy right now. But typically it'll just be Monday through Thursday, and then Friday's kind of get everything ready for the weekend, so I can spend Saturday, Sunday not worrying about anything.
I love it. And for context, you have 2 facilities, 1 full court, and then 1 half court. Talk about the locations and the context of how close these gyms are, because I think your setup is a pretty cool setup and your business model fits that setup really nicely. But paint us a picture of what that looks like physically in Utah for you.
Yeah, so I have my first gym is in Salt Lake, so that's a full court one. That's kind of where we started, and we were getting up to about 40, 50 kids, and then we started just through word of mouth, started getting kids from a little bit farther away. I had a girl that was driving about an hour and 40 minutes to get to our sessions every week. And so it was just kind of like, well, most of the training programs are either in Salt Lake or even farther south. And so what if we made an option up north? So I kind of just started looking around just kind of for fun, see what was out there. And then kind of found this spot that was like, this is exactly what we could do for a half court, and kind of randomly felt good about it and decided to go for it. And I have about 25, 30 kids up there. And so it's kind of bouncing between the two. We have 2 days at each gym that we train at, and then we try and rent out the other days. But that's kind of the layout. So it's nice that they're pretty much like 30 minutes away from most people. And so the goal is to open another one farther south, down in Provo or Amaria. But the goal would be we can pretty much reach anybody in Utah within 30 minutes eventually. So
very cool. Very cool. I think this is something that most people in the world probably don't care at all about, but I am looking to open up a gym. I've been to many different sites and nothing has fit all of our criteria. Now you've done 2. I would love some advice when I'm looking for the real estate, the building. What should I be looking for? Assume that it's a full court that we're trying to find. What are some of the guarantees? You talked about location being close to people, but literally the building of opening up a training facility. What would you look for?
It really depends on, I guess, the level of quality that you want. For example, my Salt Lake gym, we don't have full width, right? So there's columns that pop out into the side. So it's technically not full width there, but it's really, you just have to keep an eye on it constantly, check every couple days, see if there's something else up there. And as far as like the building, it's really all you need to worry about is the ceiling height, which is where it can get a little hard to find something that's high enough. I would say, like, I know people have done 16. I would say 18 is probably the minimum I'd want to go. I have 20-foot clearance height, And I still have people like hitting lights when they get a little crazy with their arch. I'd say 18 is probably the minimum to feel good about it, unless you put in some really heavy duty lights that won't break.
That's fair. I think that's been the biggest constraint so far is the ceiling height.
Yeah.
We were looking for potentially above 22 feet, which when we're going that high, it just filters out a lot of spaces. But I'm thinking if you have a player shooting from pretty far out, you're naturally going to need to launch that thing with some arch. So yeah,
Yeah.
either heavy duty lights or super high ceiling.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
That's the goal. All right, I like it. So I'm a player in Utah now. I want to come and train with you. And before the call or before the podcast, we started talking about a little bit of the Luka Doncic Foundation and what they've been talking about with training methods. Give me a feel for a typical training session with you at Ice Basketball.
Yeah, so we do group training. So we have up to 8 kids is the max that we'll have. So I call it small group because a lot of group training is like 15, 20 kids. But we have 8 kids, so we come in, we get warmed up. And the main things we're looking for in a warm up is movement and fun to get the body and the mind kind of ready to work hard. And that could be anything like we'll play tag, human foosball, where they're on their like toes in their hands and they have to slide, walk sideways to get the ball and to try and throw it past the other people. So stuff like that. So pretty fun, but gets them moving. And then we go right into a small-sided game, right? Version of one-on-one, two-on-one, contested shooting. And so we'll go into that. And then typically I'll throw in like maybe one drill where it's just we're trying to explore movement, trying to do something new, like 360 layups or type of dribble movement to really kind of push their boundaries of what they're used to doing there. And then we'll take a break. And in that break, we try and take 3 or 4 minutes and talk about like the mental side of the game. So one of the things that I'm talking about a lot recently is how to deal with high school coaches that you don't agree with and to kind of find your spot and make it work. So stuff like that I think is super important, and even more so than just the basketball skills. So we'll do that every session. Then we get right back into some of the competitive small-sided games. We'll typically focus on one area each week, so shooting or dribbling or finishing. But that's one of the reasons I like the small-sided games is you can kind of mix them together, right? So they have the option to shoot, which is our focus, but they can also drive if they see it's open, right? Making decisions there. So typically at the end, we'll try and get some kind of live play. So whether that's 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, just to kind of give them an opportunity to apply the skills that we had worked on. And that's kind of the I guess, general rundown of what we do in the sessions.
Hey, I just want to take a quick break. My name's Russell. I'm one of the founders of CoachIQ. We put on this podcast here. Our goal is to interview top coaches and business owners in the youth sports space across the United States and give you guys insight on the ground floor. How are they running their business? What do they think about the current ecosystem? And what are their thoughts on where things are going? So we're super excited to bring this to you guys. If you don't know about us, we are an all-in-one sports management platform. We run a lot of the businesses that we have on the podcast. And we're fortunate enough now to work with about 1,000 sports coaches across the United States. And it's our goal to make your life as easy as possible in running the business itself. Website, scheduling, payment management, everything handled seamlessly on our platform. And really what separates us is we are built specifically for sports. We're not powering nail salons. We're not powering Pilates studios. Every second of the day, we focus on you. So if that's something you need where you're looking to get your time back or you're looking to actually grow your business, CoachIQ is really the only platform thinking about you every single day, interviewing and working with the top coaches in the industry specific to sports. So if that's something we can help you with, we would love to connect with you. You can visit our website, coachiq.com, schedule a free demo there. The demos are awesome. It's really less about selling and much more about just walking through what we've learned and providing value on what other coaches are doing. And if it's a match, it's a match. So absolute no-brainer. Go schedule a demo. Totally worth the time. And thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for customers who are working with us. It allows us to do all this, make better product, and the main goal, help athletes all across the United States and the world get a phenomenal experience from you guys, the coaches.
I think I would thoroughly enjoy a workout at your gym. But I guess the question is a little bit misleading because the way you've structured everything as far as your culture and your gym and your business model is for the consistency piece, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about, again, before the podcast, how you really enjoy the long-term project in making someone better over time.
Yeah.
So we now know what they're doing on a daily basis, but could you talk bigger picture of a player coming to you that really wants to get better? Say they're a young high schooler. What's that going to look like for them over the course of their high school career and then even beyond?
So I think one of the biggest things is remembering that as far as like your development, 90% of that is going to be like you, right? And then the last 10%, that's where you need a trainer. If you're coming in working with a trainer, but then you go home and don't do anything else during the week, right? You're only working on that 10%, not that 90% of the results that you want. And so that's kind of our main focus is like our in-person sessions they're about development, but it's almost more of a test, right? Where we get to test and see, okay, what do you like actually need to work on? We can see it in a live situation in these small-sided games. And then you have 6 other days of the week where I want you to go work on that stuff, right? And so I think this is the battle that I tend to fight every week and every day, it seems like, is just what is the purpose of training versus working with a trainer versus playing games. We just need to go play more AAU tournaments, right? Play against better players. I'm like, yeah, that's good. But again, that's more of a test, right? Individual workouts where you're just getting to know yourself in the basketball, in the driveway, or in the gym, right? That's where we kind of develop our feel, develop our skill. And then our training is kind of the middle of it, right? Where we can take the training that you did by yourself, test it in these small-sided games where we can still have time to say, okay, like that didn't work. What can we do? What can we fix? And then you can take that into the games, right? Or if you see something in your games that you're struggling with, we can take that, say, let's try it in the small-sided games and see if it's a decision-making issue or a skill issue. If it's a skill issue, now you can go do more individual workouts. And so it's finding the balance between those three. And for most people, that balance is way out of whack.
For sure. AAU is a whole can of worms that we could go into. We won't for today. Maybe the second episode will get you back on and we can dive in there. But if somebody's coming to you and they've got a totally out of whack balance, how are you working with them to fix that? And then the second part to that question is, when they're not in the gym with you, do you have ways to still reach them and impact them to make their training outside of your gym more impactful?
Yeah, for sure. And so what we do, like, for example, if you're somebody that wants to work with us, you can go to our website or Instagram or whatever and reach out to us. But the first thing we'll do is hop on a 10 to 15 minute Zoom call where we go over, like, this is how the program works, right? What do you want to work on? This is how we'll do that. And then on that call, we show them how our training at home works. So we have a training app, right, through CoachIQ. And the way we have that set up is what we call our 6 certifications. And so typically we do, our shortest commitment is 6 months. So we don't work with anybody shorter than that. So we have 6 months, 6 certifications. The idea is we get those all done within those first 6 months. But like if there's a specific focus, like I see, hey, you really need to work on dribbling, but your shot's okay, then we'll just do the dribbling one a couple times, right? But the workouts are half-hour a day. So again, I'm big on consistency over intensity. And so I'd rather have them doing 30 minutes every day instead of trying to cram in 4 hours on Friday when they feel like they want to do it. And so we're big on the consistency there, 30 minutes every day. It's got the video, shows you this is what we're looking for. This is what to look out for to make sure you're doing it right. And we've seen that if we have kids who come to our in-person sessions every week and they are playing AU and high school stuff every other day of the week and not really doing that home workouts. And we have kids who don't play on any teams and just do the workouts at home. And the ones who are most happy with their improvement are the ones that aren't doing the AU stuff and just doing the workouts at home, right? And ideally, right, I have a girl that is just freaking awesome. And right now she's doing high school stuff. So she's got practice every day, but she comes to our sessions and she does an extra shooting session with one of our coaches and she does the workouts, right? So ideally that's like the perfect balance, but if you had to choose one, we want to make sure they're getting that 30 minutes in every day. And that's where we've seen like the most improvement. And so it's really like, it's the consistency, right? A lot of kids want to come work with us like 4 days a week. I'm like, okay, like if you can do that every week for 6 months, let's do it. But I guarantee you're going to get busy. You're going to miss a couple. And we just want to be consistent with it.
Yeah, absolutely. The seasonality piece to it is, I think, a hurdle for a lot of trainers, myself included. The summer is obviously a time where people have a lot of extra time, but AAU has kind of capitalized on that right now. I think there's going to be some reform and some pushback. But if people get burnt out in the summer, then they go into their season, they basically stop training in season most of the time. So I think your model fits really nicely for what you said. It's consistent. It's repeated efforts. It's not, spiking your volume and just putting in a ton of hours one month and then the next month just games. So I think what I hear from you is a really encouraging thing for basketball across the globe, really, because that model, I think, is a more sustainable model and actually puts the player first, which I think has been a critique of basketball in general, is we're taking the person out of it and just trying to capitalize on name, image, and likeness is a hot one, but the AAU sphere, it doesn't have the player at the center of it. So I think what you're doing right now is really cool, and you should keep expanding in Utah and that message across the U.S. and even further. I want to switch it up slightly and give you some flowers. You're 100% from the free throw line in your college career.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up playing one season, and then I decided to get married and go to school. Small sample size, but 28 for 28, and so yeah, that's my college claim to fame. But
I like that. All right, you're training someone. You can treat us like we're at one of your sessions. Maybe it's the 3 to 4 minute mental skills break, or you can go any way you want with this. But I come to you. I've been struggling with my free throws. The floor is yours. How are you helping me at the free throw line?
I think the big thing that we want to focus on here is what are we focusing on, right? And that can go two ways. So if you're struggling with free throws, there's either you are distracted, so that could be pressure, situation, fans, whatever it is, right? Distracted by what's going on, or you're so focused that you're stiff and robotic, right? And so what I like to tell a lot of my players, and this, I know there's probably a ton of people that would disagree with me, trainers and coaches, but whenever I shoot a free throw, it feels different every time. And so I'm not trying to be robotic and do the same thing every time. I'm trying to be able to adapt, right? The reason why a lot of kids struggle is when they shoot free throws at the beginning of the game, right? They're hyped up, they got the adrenaline going, the game just started. And so they're feeling nice and strong, and their shot feels nice and strong. So maybe it goes in, maybe it doesn't. But then by the end of the game, they're tired. Maybe they're feeling pressure. Their mindset's a little bit different. So if they try and do the exact same thing, it's going to miss, right? So the process is, which of those two problems are we seeing, right? Is it distraction, or is it over focusing to where you're so focused on my form has to be perfect that you're not letting your body naturally adapt to how it feels and the situation?
I love it. I feel like you've improved my percentage already.
Heck yeah.
I'm gonna get out there next season, and hopefully I'll try and scratch that 100.
Heck yeah.
But very, very impressive. I like it. Now, upon doing my research, I came across a rare skill. I don't think I've ever heard of anybody else in the world doing this, actually. And I would love the backstory as our closer question. How did you break into the world of repurposing ukuleles?
I mean, it's a long story there. I feel like growing up, I had all the dreams that every parent tells you not to have. Right? So, wanted to play in the NBA. I wanted to be a famous musician, and I wanted to be an artist. Right? Those are like the top three.
Yep.
You're gonna ruin
You had them all
if you go for those. So, but the really cool thing is I think all of it kind of works together. And so like as far as like the ukuleles, I just like ukuleles. They're fun to carry around, easy to learn. And then I like art, so I like drawing. So it's kind of like, well, let's have fun with this. I thought it was going to be $1 million business idea. Obviously didn't turn into that, but it was fun. And, as I like try and build a business that does work, you hear about all the successful people where it's like, I failed this many times before I was actually broke through and had the success. And that was one of those things where it's like, okay, like, how do you sell stuff online? Like, what do you charge for things, right? And so it was fun, right? I have sketches of like a Pikachu ukulele and Batman and all these other like fun designs I wanted to do. And so it's just kind of a fun thing. Failed as a business, but it was fun. Led into, oh, I want to design sneakers and sell sneakers. And that was another failure that didn't work. But through all of that, like, I learned artistic skills and business skills that have kind of helped me today. And I still get to kind of use art as far as like designing shirts for our kids and stuff. And so I think it's one of those, if you're having fun doing it, do it, and you'll learn some good things. Yeah. So I guess that's the quick rundown there.
Absolutely. You're pulling the lessons out of it, which is beautiful. And I think it's clearly shown as far as just how you've set up your business, how you set up a session, that session you described, like that is, I consider that artwork. And, every day new people come in, could be the same people, but they have different emotions, and being able to take that and adapt it and adjust it, that in itself is a creative aspect to being a coach and a trainer. So everything is connected. And who would have thought ukuleles would be the ultimate key to your success as a basketball coach?
Yeah. Well,
Learning from the mistakes, maybe. That's great. Well, Jesse, thank you. Where can people find you if, one, they're in Utah or just across the world? How can they learn more about you?
yeah, easiest two places is just our website, ice-basketball.com, as well as our Instagram, just at ice_bball. That's where, you can kind of check out what our training looks like. That's where I share a lot of my training thoughts and stuff like that. So like I said, pretty simple process. One of the things we try to focus on is making it easy. So with CoachIQ and our website and everything, it's pretty simple process to get you in for a session. First session is always free, so we like to do that and let you come try it, but that's how you can get in touch with us.
Amazing. Jesse, thank you so much. I learned a ton. Really appreciate you, and hopefully I'll see you out in Utah someday.
Yeah, sounds good. Looking forward to it.